Welcome to Monday Jazz and Conversation, presented by a collaboration of 4 nonprofit organizations: Gold Coast Jazz Society, South Florida Jazz, Sunshine Jazz Organization, and the Miami Jazz Cooperative, all of whom are dedicated to bringing jazz to South Florida audiences. Each Monday, Wendy Peterson and Nick Yorta feature the music and talk to the country's most talented and interesting jazz musicians.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Fedchuk to the hang.
Hi, everybody.
John.
Great to be here.
The very incredible guitar player, Mr. Go ahead, you do it.
Jonathan Kreisberg.
How are you?
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Please welcome to Jazz and Conversation the amazing Joe Donato. Joey D!
Hello.
How are you? I'm so
Good evening,
sad
ladies and
that
gentlemen.
we gave
This
you
is Ralph
stress.
Edwards, and tonight, it's Joe Donato. This is your life.
And now, the hosts of Monday Jazz and Conversation, Wendy Peterson and Nick Yorta.
Hello, everyone.
Hello and happy Monday.
Oh, wait.
Oh. I think yours is out of tune.
Well, it's a fretless tutor.
Happy, this is our we did that only because this is the last Monday of December. When we see you next week, it will be a new year. So cheers,
Cheers
salud.
to that.
We're happy to see a new year come, and hopefully it's going to bring a lot of good things for all of us and all of you. I was going to say I hate to think it could be worse, but it always could be worse. So
I feel like it's going to be a better year.
I think it's going to be a
Ultimately.
fantastic year. It's going to take a while, but it's going to be fantastic. So we're so glad you joined us tonight. Thank you so much, and happy last Monday of December. And we have a fantastic show for you tonight. We're really excited to bring to you the music of Eddy Balzola and his group Oriente. We're going to talk a lot about it, but first let's just jump right in and hear a song that he wrote.
Recorded just for the show.
Recorded just for the show, live at the Jazzport, which we're thinking maybe we might actually do if we figure out all this technical stuff, which slowly but surely we kind of are figuring things out. But we're thinking maybe we could figure out how to do an actual live concert from the Jazzport.
See, 2021 is looking better.
Yes, there you go. But for now, this is recorded live at the Jazzport just like 2 weeks ago, specifically for the show. And listen, this is a fantastic tune called Philadelphia by Eddy Balzola. I know it's so crazy to hear applause. It's so funny. The other thing that I noticed is and I saw somebody post the other day about this that I'm watching him as he's playing. He's got the mask hanging off the neck of his guitar, and somebody had just posted the other day. One day in 10 years we're gonna reach into our pocket and pull out a mask and think about the crazy year that we had. So it's true. It's going to be one of those like, remember that crazy? We had to wear masks for the whole year. Anyway, enough about that. Fantastic, more fantastic music, and let's meet and greet Eddy Balzola. How are you?
Hey, how's it going there?
How you doing?
It's going
All right.
great.
All right.
Everything, you're staying safe. Everything is good.
Yeah. Best we can.
That's very true. Very, very true.
Oh, I'm hearing ourselves twice, but whatever. I'm
Yeah.
not sure why we're hearing ourselves again. Is there a set of headphones maybe that are plugged in that are?
It's
That we're hearing
it's
some
the
audio
internet
from?
gods messing with us.
How's it sound now?
Let me see.
Any different?
That's perfect. We hear
Was
it.
our second set of
It's all
headphones
good.
plugged in? Excuse us, folks. It's 2020, but we're going to end this year, and it's going to be better.
Is that you promise?
How's it now?
You know what
I'm
I
just
think
kind of
it is?
messing with it here, but I can't tell what it is. Go ahead.
Do you have your Facebook on your
Yes,
phone?
the phone might have the volume on. That's what it is.
No, take that off.
Yes, it's the volume of the phone.
You can just turn down the volume.
figured
We
it
can watch or whatever.
No, she's in the same room. I told her to go to the next room.
There you go. Yeah, I think we're hearing ourselves from the phone.
All right.
Anyhow,
Maybe.
hey, whatever. We'll just chuck through. I want to say before anything, Eddie, that was Dony Felix on bass and Yoel Del Sol. on
Yoel Del Sol.
Such great musicians you got playing with you.
Thank you. Yeah, I've known Donnie. By the way, today is his birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Donnie.
Yeah. So he's probably not watching. He's probably out partying or something. No,
I thought this was where the party was.
exactly. Yeah, I've known Donnie since like 1987 or something like that. God knows.
Wow.
Yes, we've been friends for that long. And Yoel's been playing with me for about 20 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. These guys are consistent and they're wonderful to work with, man.
It was such a great mix hearing, just the three of you guys play. It was a fantastic balance, and you guys complemented each other so great.
Right. Thank
Right, because you
you.
have a bigger version of the group, right?
Yeah. We usually add a trap drummer and a trumpet. Trap drummer is usually the seat is shared by either Orlando Machado or Ray Monroy.
Oh,
And trumpet is Stuart King.
yeah.
You know, occasionally we'll bring in also, if the gig pays for it, we'll bring in Jesse Jones on alto. Sometimes his nephew Yamin has done some things with us.
Yeah.
But normally it's a quintet or a trio, depending on what's going on. You know?
Great.
Very nice. And do you mind playing with the smaller units, or is it all the same to you?
No, you know it's all the same. It's different. I play a little bit differently depending on because there I was doing some of the parts that Stuart would be playing on the trumpet and what have you. And it's nice. It's just a nice. It's different, and it's always nice, one way or the other. You know?
So tell us about how you got started with music, let's say, because people are going to find out that you have other talents.
No, I don't think I have too much of that going on, but no,
Let our audience decide.
I think it was just something that the way that I really got started with music is kind of very unorthodox and weird, you might say. I moved into an apartment with my parents, and there was an old guitar there among some of the old furniture that was left by the previous tenants, and an uncle of mine who lived next door, he used to play a little, so he strung it up and tuned it up and what have you. He showed me a couple little things here and there, and then I just started playing, pretty much just copying what I would hear on recordings and whatever. I was mostly self-taught. I didn't really get any kind of formal. I never had teachers or anything, except later on I went into Miami-Dade College, and then I took some lessons from J.B. Dias and Mike DeLito and Hugh Carr. And that was pretty much it, And from then I was just. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. How old were you when you first got that guitar that you started fooling
I
around
think
with?
I was like maybe 15,
Oh wow, so
15 or 14, something like that. Yeah.
that's great.
That's actually sort of late for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm amazed by like Mike Levine started really late also, and like when he was 17 or 16 or something.
Yeah.
Which
No, some people.
It's when you get it, when
Right,
the music
right.
bug hits you. That's
Right,
really
right.
the.
And we always ask. So the minute you picked it up, you had the affinity for it. You knew that that's what you were going to do.
It was weird. I don't know if I didn't look at it that way because I was a young person. I just looked at it as, at that moment. I was always a very awkward, I think an awkward kid. I didn't have a ton of friends running around with, but and this was like a companion. This really is what it was. That's how I saw it at that moment. It was like, wow, this beats anything,
You
and,
complete me.
yeah.
Exactly.
So, and I got obsessed with I heard a recording. Actually, I have an older cousin of mine who came from Puerto Rico at that time, and he was like a big Rolling Stones fan, and he showed me all these little Rolling Stones tunes, and I said, "Wow, a chord!" I wasn't doing chords up till that moment. I was copying bass lines actually from recordings, and he started showing me chords, and from then on, I discovered an album that to this day I consider to be Live at the Fillmore, the Allman Brothers Band.
Wow.
And that's when I started like copying solos by other people. I wasn't sure I knew what I was doing. I still don't know if I know what I'm doing, but that was what got me into like copying solos. And I couldn't transcribe that. I couldn't read and write. But back then I was just you memorize everything when you're that age.
Yeah.
You're like so it was a lot easier than that. And little by little I got into being able to read and write with those teachers I told you about.
Right. And you were born where?
I was born in a town about a half an hour east of Havana called Manabacoa in the island of Cuba.
Okay.
I came here at a very young age. I came to the United States. That's my mom
She's beautiful.
right there. Yeah, she's a fantastic, beautiful singer, man.
Well, we actually have her, have a clip of her singing.
Right, I recorded
wanna-
her.
Oh, tell us about this. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, you know, she was like a child prodigy. In fact, when she was about 13, she was singing in a choir. I think it was some kind of a church choir or something that she was singing in, and it was all mostly young adult women, except for her. She was a 13-year-old, but she was like the main focus of the. She was so amazingly talented. She had a beautiful voice, and the choir master contacted somebody from I forget exactly what institution, but a very prestigious conservatory in Havana to come to our town to hear her. And Burson heard like one song and offered basically a full scholarship for anything, you know. But
Wow.
my grandparents, you know, they were country people, guajiros as they call them. And my grandfather, you know, there was another time in another place, and he did not approve of it. And unfortunately, she didn't rebel, or fortunately for me, she did, because she was the best mom ever. But you know, I always thought that was an empty spot in her heart, in her life, but she never stopped singing around the house, and I think that was really the first main musical influence I ever had, was her
Right.
singing. And so when I think it was like maybe 12 years ago, when she was already definitely getting old, and you know, her mind wasn't working as good as it should anymore, and she always sang around the house, but she was very shy to sing in front of people, and I basically forced her to come to a studio and record something, because she used to sing this song around the holidays, and it always gave me goosebumps. So I brought her and her brother, who used to do these beautiful duets together. Her brother being the father of Aldo, my cousin, who showed me the Rolling Stone songs and all. And he had a lovely voice also. And I basically recorded them. I laid down a click track. I played the chord, you know, back up on the guitar. They sang along to it. And then I added a little percussion, and Holly played a little shikari. And it's a simple thing, very simple production. It was at a Flavor Studios in North Miami Beach. Julio Lopez runs, a very good friend of mine. He's like family to me. So we did it, and she was like elated. She did it like in one take. I couldn't believe it. She hadn't
Sure. Shows everyone.
one take. Right.
Very nice. Let's give a listen to this.
Yeah.
Esta noche es Nochebuena, vamos al bosque, hermanito, a cortar un arbolito, porque la noche es serena. Los reyes y los pastores cantan siguiendo una estrella, le cantan a Jesús niño y también la Virgen bella. Arbolito, arbolito, campanitas te pondré. Quiero que seas bonito, que al recién nacido te voy a ofrecer. Iremos por el camino, caminito de Belén. Iremos porque esta noche ha nacido el niño rey. Esta noche es Nochebuena, vamos al bosque, hermanito, a cortar un arbolito, porque la noche es serena. Los reyes y los pastores cantan siguiendo una estrella, le cantan a Jesús niño y también la Virgen bella. Arbolito, arbolito, campanitas te pondré. Quiero que seas bonito y al recién nacido te voy a ofrecer. Iremos por el camino, caminito de Belén. Iremos porque esta noche ha nacido el niño rey.
That was
Thank
so
you.
beautiful.
That is
Thank
so
you.
beautiful.
That is such a gift, both
Oh,
for
yeah,
you and
it's-
for her. You know that you
Absolutely.
did that
It's
for
still,
her.
it's you know, it's we lost her last year, so it's a little bittersweet to listen to it still.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she was amazing.
Here's a pic of you with her when you were a teenager, huh?
Right, right. That's around the time I guess I started playing.
Oh,
Okay.
wow, okay.
I would think, more or less.
Was she happy to see you play?
Oh yeah, yeah. She never. My father thought I was a schmuck for wanting to do that for a living, but she always she loved it. She would ask me to play things for her, and also
Yeah. These are great photos,
I love
man.
them. And what's this? Carnival
That's-
in Cuba.
that's Carnival. Yeah, that's my dad driving.
Wow.
Uh-huh. That's amazing. Cars probably.
It's probably still on the road.
It's still all over Havana or something.
That's right. That is so cool. And now you were you started with the rock thing, right? That seems to be your first influence. Was it rock? I mean, obviously the things you heard around the house would have been.
Yeah, without a doubt. Hearing stuff around the house, but like all kids of that era, I grew up listening to Motown and things on the radio, and like I said, it was the first recording that really knocked me off my feet was the Allman Brothers.
Which is like
But,
with the jazz tinge, you know.
With the jazz and blue and very bluesy, of course.
Yeah.
And from then on, I really that took me to blues, of course. And I was listening to the English blues masters like John Mayall and people like that, but also to the Delta bluesmen of the Deep South, the great ones. Robert,
Yeah.
everything from Robert Johnson to Bucko White and people like that.
Right.
And little by little, I just started getting into other things, and eventually, I always tell this story. When I was just about a year after that, a cousin of mine came from New Jersey. She had just gotten married. She was really young. She was not like 18 years old. And she came down from New Jersey to live in Miami. And she and her husband, her new husband, took me to see. She said, "Hey, we're going to the movies. Why don't you come with us?" I said, "All right." And the movie was Superfly.
Oh, wow.
And when I heard that soundtrack by Curtis Mayfield, I said, "I don't even want to listen to rock and roll anymore, man. That is it. I'm never going to listen to rock and roll ever again. I just want to listen to soul music." And that,
Yeah.
for years, that's all I listened to, nothing else. And eventually later you stretch out and you listen to other things
Yeah.
because you mature and all. But for a while, that's all I wanted to hear was Curtis, Donny Hathaway, Earth, Wind and Fire, Mandrill. I wouldn't listen to anything other than that. I was
Right.
obsessed with it.
Right. And
It's-
so we started hearing the show, hearing your song Philadelphia. When did you get into actual writing?
I think I started writing somewhere around like the early 90s, I would say. I never wrote before that. And it just hit me one time. I had a weird, it's really a strange thing. I had a weird personal occurrence in my life, an experience. I had a weird experience as a young man having my heart broken, you might say.
Okay.
And I started writing, and next thing you know, I all I did was write. I stopped even like focusing not so much on playing as I was writing. Eventually, I've gotten back into it, but I started writing a lot of things, and it was just a great time because I was being inspired by a lot of things. My senses were very heightened around that time, and I was constantly writing. Everything that I experienced at that moment, I would write about.
That's great.
And that song with Philadelphia was written. I did a tour with a local reggae band at that time, who asked me to jump on board with them. They were going to tour the Midwest and the Northeast. Their name is In a Sense. They're still based partly in Miami Beach and partly in Philadelphia, I think, depending on the time of the year. And that was the first place where we went, and it was like one of their home bases in the Northeast. And I just really just fell in love with that city. And I remember I met a young woman there, and she called me the next day. I met her at the club, and she called me the next day, and she said, "Hey, I want to take you out for lunch to there's one Cuban restaurant in the whole city of Philadelphia. I want to take you." I said, "Listen, I eat Cuban food all the time. I'm from Miami." And I go, "Take me to Coltrane's home." And so she did. So it was beautiful. I took it from photographs, and it wasn't open at that time because it was being repaired. There was but it was just great to see it. The history behind him. That's the place he called home for a long time. So I wrote that song inspired by all that, basically. And it's also Philadelphia was always such a hub of soul music as well, not just jazz. I mean, the Heath brothers also are Philadelphians and what have you. But the sound of Philadelphia, it's all soul music.
Right. So you said that you got into the reggae thing, and you did perform Exodus for us at the Jazzport. And I think we should give that a listen.
Well, before we do that, let's just let's kind of do our little plug, because as you know, we say this every week. We really haven't been able to play very much, if at all. And this is kind of our way of having a gig, like our Monday night music is this. So we would like if you can, please support our musicians, show them a little love. You're going to text the word tip jar to the number 44321, and the first $100 will be matched. So it's just a great way of being able to have a gig. You guys went and did a whole set for us, and now we're going to hear it, and we want to be able to give back. So whatever you can give, you text the word tip jar in the message section to the number 44321. You end up getting a little link to take you to a very safe and secure spot, and you can donate whatever you can. Whatever is appreciated. And look, Dony Felix is watching, so happy birthday, Donnie.
Happy birthday to you, my friend.
So I'm just gonna say that we'll probably scroll it on the bottom of the screen while the music is playing, but anything that you can do, that all of the money goes to the musicians tonight. Will go to Eddy and Dony and Yoel. So we really appreciate it. So yeah, let's listen to some music.
You caught me off guard there with such a...
Did I?
Yeah. But don't worry, I got this. Oh, I have got this. the dynamics, things unfold as they unfold.
I love being in the room with you guys or in the carport with y'all because it
The
was,
carport, yeah.
yeah, it really
Oh, it was
was.
great. It was a whole lot of fun doing that, let me tell you. And partly it was just really nice working with you all. I don't know if I told you that night because you get caught up in playing and all, but it was really great. You guys got it together and just it's really nice people to work with. That's always great.
Well, that's Nikki. Nikki made sure
Yeah, great
yeah.
mix and
Yeah,
everything.
I had to work around it. It wasn't my best mix, but I'll get better. I had to use some with the phone and some with the board, but I think
Right,
it sounds
right.
all right.
Ah,
It's
it
the
was
playing
great.
that's stellar.
Yeah, well, that,
Well, of course, I listen to these things always, and the first thing that I say is, "Why the hell did you take these long solos?" And you don't realize where you're doing it. Just having a nice time. You're letting it flow, and then you say, "Well, that's too long."
no, it doesn't feel that way at all.
It's
Well,
like it's a journey,
I'm
right?
glad
the
to hear
things,
that.
especially since you guys are so good at using dynamics and creating a whole new mood for the sections.
Oh, thank you.
That's the way you do a song. That's 10 minutes. It's all the same. It never will work.
Yeah.
Well, any compliment coming from a guy like you is a
I
hell of a compliment, man.
thoroughly
So,
enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So you mentioned the Allman Brothers and some of the English blues bands. What other influence did you have on the guitar?
well, also, when you mentioned this last tune we played is a Bob Marley tune. Sometime around the time that he died, a little before he died, I was turned on to his music. Not before that, by a friend of mine who was from Jamaica. He said, "No, you got to listen to this," and he basically gave me a whole bunch of records to listen to. By the late '70s, and early '80s, soul music, which was my love, was kind of died out. Disco had, turned it into something else, and
Right.
then MTV and all that sort of thing, and none of that was my cup of tea. And reggae kind of like stepped in and felt like soul music with coconut trees,
Yeah.
especially that reggae of that time with Dennis Brown, and Steel Pulse and Bob Marley, Third World. It just felt that way. So I got into it, and really what happened is I ended up working for many years with local reggae bands and touring with them.
Cool.
And I was able to make a living doing that for a long time.
That's very cool.
That is awesome. Now I noticed that Frankie Marcos is in the house. So
Yeah, I
I
saw
thought
him.
we should talk about some of the other bands that you played with, but let's get this on right off the bat.
Yep.
So I did not know that you worked with him.
Yeah, for 2 years.
So you did. I see from the picture it says Helsinki and Vegas. So you did some touring with him.
That's in Las Vegas. I
Right.
remember that. Yeah, because the singers were different in Helsinki. Yeah, we did Helsinki, we did Las Vegas a couple of times. We did the MGM Grand and the
Well,
Treasure Island, and we were there
you
for
might want to
months.
say what band this is because
This is
Oh,
the band Clouds.
Clouds,
which
of course.
which was a staple band when I first
Right.
started playing professionally in the early '80s, like 1980. They were the
Right.
hot band, and they were
Sure.
for decades. And of course we have been friends since then. And great musician, great people. He and his wife are lovely, and yes, George is a great drummer. His brother, yeah. So I wasn't aware. In fact, I was touring with Julio Iglesias, and I did see Clouds in Vegas. So you might have even been in the band, but I don't think
It's
I knew
possible.
you back then.
Right. It's possible. They went there afterwards. After I left, they were there a couple times. But
Okay.
we were the band that actually inaugurated the MGM Grand at that time.
Very cool.
And
What year would that have been? Do you remember?
that must have been like 93, 94, because we were there for like a year, and it was like the second half of 93 into the first half of 94.
Because that was in '94 is when I joined.
So that was
Yeah, so
probably,
may well
it
be.
might have been. The thing about Clouds, a lot of people, I didn't realize it because they were, like you said, they were very well known here in
Part of the
Miami.
Miami Sound.
There was that, it was definitely a big part of the Miami Sound, but it wasn't until I joined that I realized that in places like Panama and Peru, they were like as big as anybody, as big as Celia Cruz or Ruben Blades or somebody like that. Yeah.
Very
So,
cool.
yeah.
And so let's take a look at some of the other bands you were in, and you tell us about them. And people can have fun trying to find you.
Oh,
Oh,
That's
it's probably the one that says me.
right. Yeah, it's hard to tell with the black hair now. You know.
Yes, exactly.
But that's just a version, one of the different versions of Oriente, basically.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. That was in the center. That's McCarty Nibbs, a friend of mine also who we went to school at Miami-Dade together, who passed away about a few years ago. It was around the same time. It was a bad month, man. A bad couple of months. We lost Ingrid Pistorius,
Yeah.
Pepe Aparicio, our bass player at the time, and then McCarty, a really, really old, good friend of mine. He was a pan player from the British Virgin Islands. So yeah, that's him. That's Fabio Patino next to him with the dark glasses. I don't know if you know him. He's a really, really good
I
drummer.
do not know.
And he led a really interesting band here a few years back called Lanzallamas Monofónicas. He's from Mexico City, and he employs a lot of different styles, influences from Mexico as well. He's a top-notch Brazilian drummer. He sounds like a Brazilian when he plays.
Wow.
And he's very, very interesting musician, composer, artist in general.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And the guy with the dashiki, Israel, that guy also had an interesting story. He came from Cuba on a raft, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he used to play with Nino Rivera over there, the tres player. So he basically played traditional Cuban music all his life over there, and didn't go to school. Like, he's not one of the conservatory guys. Miami's full of these great Cuban musicians from the conservatory. He because of issues, because family issues and their stances regarding religion and stuff like that, he was not allowed to go to get higher education. So he took private lessons from Carlos de Puerto from Iraquere.
Sure.
And so he got to turn him on to a little jazz stuff. And then he studied here with Vincent Brides.
Oh, yeah. My teacher.
And now he moved away. I think he's living in, I don't know, in Minnesota or someplace like that. Last time I heard.
Cool.
Yeah,
I know I'm going out of order here, but here's a younger
Oh, yeah.
you.
God, that's in the
It's
80s.
still me. I like it. It's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that's from a book that Holly and I put together, I wanted to leave it for my daughter and my grandson, a book of my kind of of my life story and
I love it.
for them to have. So that's why it says me.
Yeah. It's great. And
Franz Louisant, he was a bass player in that band at bass. That's at Bayside. And Chris Russo, wow, that's old stuff, man. He's a drummer also, Franz.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, how time flies, huh? You
Oh,
had
man.
mentioned Pepe Aparicio, and here's a
There
pic.
he is, yeah. That's Pepe. That was a group we played at. That was at Fantasy Fest in Key West, even though the picture was actually taken in Miami Beach as a promo shot. But that was a thing we did for Fantasy Fest. The guy on my right, which would be the left of the picture, he's a fantastic percussionist named Daniel Diaz, also known as Oseku. That's his African name. Monster percussionist. And the guy on the other side, J.C. Garay, he's the grandson of the Cuban troubadour Sindo Garay, who and he lives in Berlin now, and he's a bata player.
Right.
So that's just the thing we did too. But two percussionists, a bass and guitar. We had a ton of fun doing that
Wow.
in Key West. Yeah.
And these were all your bands? I mean, you sort of formed them?
Yeah, I think I formed. Well, this was something at that time. Daniel, the guy on my right with the dreadlocks, he and I were constantly doing projects together. So yeah, it's something we threw together, and
Right.
and I was always a fan of what things Pepe was doing with his Brazilian things and all that. So we asked him to do this with us,
And is this, you're saying this is New Orleans?
Oh, that's in New Orleans. That's at the hotel, I think, Le Pavillon.
Right.
It's a very beautiful old hotel.
So
Yeah, I
were
don't know if
these
you remember
local
that bass player.
musicians?
No, these are guys
These are
that,
guys you took on tour?
it's a couple of guys from here, and the woman playing the harp is a woman named Patrice Fisher, fantastic harpist and flautist, and a classical musician who also plays. She'll turn around, play this amazing classical composition, and then turn around and play Tipitina on the harp, that sort of thing. Yeah, she's amazing, Patrice Fisher. And that's Jorginho Albuquerque. I don't know if you remember him on bass.
I don't know.
Very, very
Oh,
good
wait
bass
a
player.
minute. I take that back. He may have studied with me for a minute.
The Brazilian
Back when I was
guy.
teaching. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
very good player, and
Yes.
beautiful
You
tone.
said Jorginho, but I went with George. Yeah.
Jorginho,
Yeah, sure.
absolutely.
God, I haven't heard the name in forever. Yeah.
And that's Ignacio Nunez on percussion.
Very, very cool. But you have you've been a busy guy, and you even had time for some touring.
Yeah.
That was around that same time, yeah. That's if you remember Louis Huchiong,
Of
Yeah.
course,
the
sure.
pianist. He was a good friend of mine. We used to played a long time at Mango's, and he had that gig, and he said, "Hey, they need a guitar player. You want to?" Sure, of course. And so that was it. One time we did a concert with her. She came here, did a one nighter, and that was it. I played with her afterwards on a cruise ship.
Right.
She Ogayo, of course, that we're talking about.
Yeah.
She's a
Super,
legend of
super-
Cuban music,
An absolute legend.
Absolutely.
And, I guess this would have been with Oriente, or is this,
That's with Oriente, yeah. It's in there somewhere.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. And there you guys are.
And that was at St. Lucia also. That's the great
Oh, and Oscar Salas,
Oscar
actually,
Salas. Oscar
Oh,
Salas and
man.
Kike Sanchez, Pepe
Yeah.
Stewart. Yoel was playing trap drums over there on that one.
Wow.
They were switching between percussion. They were taking turns, him and Oscar.
So many amazing characters.
Yeah, Oscar is, man, talk about a style that died with him.
Yeah.
A style of playing percussion that died with him,
Yeah.
So beautiful.
So I said something beforehand that you seem to want to fight about, and I think I'm going to win this battle because I said you're clearly a person of
Many
many
talents.
talents, and so I have this whole collection of sketches that you have done, and man, you're good.
Yeah.
Check this out, everyone.
We've got all these different, yeah. That's just something you do for fun?
Did he freeze?
I don't know.
He might have frozen.
Hold on. We'll see. Well, you can, in the meantime, you can put a couple more,
Hold on, let me. Yes.
or we can play a video.
You know what?
Some
Well,
more
let's
music.
play a video, and when we get Eddie back, we will talk about his sketches because it's too important. And there's about a dozen of them that you have to
They're
see
just all beautiful.
out of sight. So this is Oriente live from the Jazz Port.
Jazzport. Softly.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Really good stuff. Just beautiful. Just beautiful.
We almost lost you for a minute.
Oh my goodness. You know,
It's
this
a great adventure.
it always is an adventure. It doesn't matter how much we plan and how many tests we do. It's
Right.
whatever's happening that night in the stratosphere and or
Yes.
the atmosphere is what we get.
In fact,
So,
I have to
Right,
take
right.
out echo cancellation, so if anything changes, you may need to pop out and in again.
oh my
All right.
gosh.
Hold on. Keep your fingers crossed.
Let's see what happens. All right. Are we
Do we
good?
have you? Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
All
Okay.
right.
Yep.
So we
We're
were
here.
talking about your sketches, and we had this one up, and I'd like for you to tell us about how you got into this. I think, maybe I'm wrong, but they strike me as pretty fantastic.
Yeah, they are fantastic.
Well, thank you.
So we got this one.
And
that-
if you remember who these are, and if you could tell us how you actually got into it. Is this another thing that you just did on a whim?
Yeah, this was just on a whim. This is just my buddy Charlie Taylor, who's right now he's from Barbados and he's in Barbados now throughout the holidays doing some gigs that he always goes down to do. He's a fantastic percussionist. Lived in Sweden most of his life and New York City. He's living here in Hollywood, and he's just a lovely human being and a fantastic player. And that's just him and me. We do a lot of duos around here in Hollywood, and it's just a whole lot of fun as well. So I
And how long
decided
does it
to
take you to knock something out like that?
something like that. Really, just a few minutes. That's
Really?
just a quick sketch. Yeah, it's
show
just a quick
off.
sketch.
Show off. It would take you forever.
Sure.
I know it's so, but they
Look
really
at this.
capture.
Look at these. These are so freaking cool.
That's a little one of about three that I did when I was in high school, actually.
In high school, so
Where
when
I
did you
did
start
one-
sketching?
That's something I really started since I was like a toddler.
1974.
Yeah, that's something that. So that's actually pre-high school. Holly just looked at the date. Yeah, that's
Oh,
like probably
wow.
middle school or something.
Unbelievable. Speaking of Holly, would you please explain this one here?
That's her. Yeah,
Does she
that's
jam
her.
on bata?
Yeah. she
Sure,
can.
Holly's actually really one of those kind of people that did not decide to dedicate, the hours of her day to music as a player, but as a listener, she's really like a world-class listener of any kind of style of music. But she has an incredible ear. I've taken Holly. Well, this is her playing bata when she was a member of the group Takala, which is I think that the group still exists. It's an all-female African ensemble. Fantastic
Very
group led by Corina Fitch, who's a very interesting young woman. She's a nurse and a midwife, and she has traveled to Africa to the villages where she's basically donated her medical and healing services in return for knowledge as a drummer.
Wow.
And she's just really great. And Holly was part of that group that includes a whole bunch of other lovely, beautiful, talented women. They play bata, they play djembe, they play junjun, and all kinds of things. They dance. Very interesting stuff.
You learn something every show.
I'm telling you.
I had no idea.
Well, it's just.
I've taken Holly to rumbas in Little Havana,
Mm-hmm.
where people like Daniel Ponce were there and stuff like that, and Lázaro Afonso, who are like the best of the best in rumba, here in South Florida. And she's grabbed the clave, and of course the first thing, who is this white girl? They give her dirty looks,
Yeah.
and next thing you know, she doesn't miss it, man. From beginning to the end, she's there like a rock. And these
That's
guys, they
amazing.
adore her,
Well, had I known this before we recorded your set,
That's right.
Yeah,
I would have, pushed for a little cameo.
There you go.
absolutely.
I'm the opposite. I for some reason I always get the clave backwards. Like no matter what I do, they try to explain it, and I'm always on 2-4. Doing 2-3 on a 3-2, and I don't know why I
don't
hear
quite
it.
understand.
It's something you just have to feel after a while. It's almost just you have to feel it after a while. It's
Yeah.
something that I can't say that I totally 100%. There are times when I've gone and thinking that I have it right, and I've jumped in, and I am Cuban, and I play, Latin music and everything, and even then.
Yeah.
And there are times when some of the guys have looked at me and I said, "Oh, it's that look again,"
Yeah, sometimes
It's-
I'm a little skeptical about that too. I'm wondering, is it really that, are they really that in tune? Or are they just,
I think it has to be because when you get it wrong, it's like you've done something, you've killed somebody's,
Right.
dog.
Well, it doesn't groove. If you get it
Yeah.
wrong, it doesn't groove, But one thing about the clave is it's a give and take thing, because on one end, I hear it when I hear James Brown, without a doubt.
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it really doesn't serve such a specific function in anything other than Cuban music.
Right.
In terms of needing, yet really, if you listen to a lot of other Afrocentric styles, you will kind of hear it a lot. And New Orleans, of course, there's a specific second line groove.
Right.
And the Mardi Gras Indians do that's, dum, but they play it on the bass drum. Dum, 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 dum,
Right.
dum, and it's,
Yeah.
but they don't follow they're not strict around what they play around it.
Right.
It's just a rhythmic pattern, but in Cuban music, they're very strict about what they play around it.
Sure.
And so it can be a treacherous little thing, as simple as it seems.
Bless you.
Gesundheit.
So here's a few more because they are so good.
Oh,
This is
wow.
called Jazz Man.
Yeah. I don't know what inspired that. I saw something on TV as a kid, and Again, the first thing when I started slowly getting interested in jazz, I think it was when I saw like guys on public television, stuff like that playing.
Right.
And I was really, and I always say one of the things before I could understand the music or make sense of it, I was, and I think this happened to a lot of people, I was just taken by how utterly cool these cats were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing against others, but so many, especially like in rock music, there's such a constant need to be cool.
Yeah.
And image and everything. It's like these guys, they couldn't care less. They just were.
Right. Right.
And that's what I would say before I could understand anything about the music, if I even do, I was taken by that. I think just the visual artist in me was
The
taken
cool
by that.
factor.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now here's a favorite. We
here's
know
one
that
of
Keith
our-
Vallis is watching.
Yeah. One of our
This
favorites.
is brilliant. Look at this. I'm gonna put this one in
Yeah,
full screen.
China.
China Vallis. What
That was a
what-
gift for Keith. That's on a piece of wood, actually. I paint acrylic on wood sometimes when I'm not sketching, and I don't do it often because I don't have the time always. This was when China died, and that was a sad thing for everybody. And I decided
Yeah.
a few months later, I did this for Keith on his birthday.
Oh, I love that.
And if you
So,
look at
so
the
good.
back, it's Mel Dancy, Jaco,
Oh, my
Oscar
goodness.
Salas, Melton Mustafa, and Howard Moss.
Wow,
Fantastic.
that is amazing.
The
And-
Maj.
And, the Maj. We have several
Maj.
more, and then we'll wrap that one up. So this is self-portrait.
That was me as a teenager, yeah.
Uh-huh. And then this last one here with Holly.
Yeah.
Right.
These are great. These are fantastic.
I'm telling you.
Thank
it's,
you. Thank you.
So I don't know what your little objection was when I was bringing that up, but you are, man, that's very, very cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I admire that multi-talented, people.
Well, it's so funny how many artists are also
Yes,
artists.
that's true,
You know,
right.
musical artists.
Right,
There's Miles
right.
Davis
Tony
and
Bennett.
Tony Bennett.
Yeah,
There's so
sure.
many of people.
Joni Mitchell also.
Yes, exactly.
Is it
Exactly.
relaxing to you? Is it that kind of thing where it's like, I'm going to chill out, I do this?
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It is. And because it's something that that I don't have to do like music, there's always, as you probably know, there's always that factor, as much as we love it. And it's so, music, it's so rewarding, but at the same time, it's our job.
Yeah. So this
So
is
you
just,
always have,
you just do
this
for
is like
yourself.
for the hell of it.
Yeah.
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 Not that I don't do music like that too, but you know what I mean. It is also
yeah,
a
yeah.
job.
It's a difference, yeah.
Well, you have to
Right.
please, whoever's hiring you, and
right,
you've got certain
exactly.
parameters that you have to follow, and
Exactly,
rules, and
exactly.
yeah.
Right.
Rules?
Let's listen to Oriente. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
No, he was saying rules. Like
Yeah,
that's-
rules.
There's no rules.
Overrated. Tell us about the song "Medicine Woman."
Well, Medicine Woman is as you probably know, it's just an E pedal on the bass, where of course he takes liberties with, which is what I asked him to do, and I love what he did there. But basically, it's just an E pedal where the chords are changing on the guitar. But I don't remember what actually. That's really one of those tunes where I just started doodling, and it came out.
Do you generally do it that way, or do you actually have an idea in mind and compose
There's different
around it?
things that, and I've heard other interviews with other people who write music, and they all say the same thing. There's not any one particular.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just doodling around and something just comes from it. Or just last week or this week or something, I saw an interview with Paul McCartney where he says he wrote, I think it was yesterday, he heard it in a dream. And he woke up and for a long time he was like investigating because he could have sworn that wasn't really his song, that he
Wow.
must have just heard it somewhere and it got in the back of his mind. That's something that has happened to me more than once. And it'll take me a long time before I actually will put it out or try to play it, because I just assume that, no, this is something I must have heard somewhere.
Right.
I
Sure.
stole this.
Scary.
I stole
Right.
it
Yeah.
from somebody.
Right.
And if you're really unlucky, you sort of go to the page. If no, I guess it's mine, and then later on you hear the song that
Exactly.
came from there. Oh,
The lawsuit happens.
I always
The
like
law-
that.
the
So
lawsuit.
You get served.
Do you keep? Do you have like a drawer full of unfinished things? Do you sort of sketch things out, and if it doesn't come to fruition, you just sort of put it back in a file?
Absolutely. In fact, a lot of the things that I've written, maybe there's an A section was one draft, and the
Okay.
bridge is another draft. And I say, well, these two things fit together, and that's how it is. And a lot of things really come from, in the case of a Medicine Woman, after it just came like that, but it had a certain sound. When I heard it, it had a certain flow, as if it felt like somebody floating on a canoe through the river or something like that. And I saw indigenous people, and medicine woman medicine man is such a terminology, and at least in the Hollywood version of indigenous culture. And I have a very close friend of mine. Her name is Janice Heller, who's like a sister to me. And she is one of those, talk about gifted, man. This woman is one of those truly gifted healers. She's a midwife and a doctor of Chinese medicine, but this woman can go into a hospital and get a specialist, a regular medical specialist, and give him a run for his money, as they say, in information. She's amazing. And I thought about her at the same time, and I said, well, this is the perfect name for her, and it's the perfect person to dedicate it to.
All right, well, let's hear it.
Yeah, so.
That's a mood right there.
That is a move.
Yeah. Hey, who's that I see? Hi, Holly.
Hi, Holly. This is the world famous guitar player.
Yes, exactly.
They're saying hi to you. She doesn't have her earphones on, so she can't hear you.
Oh, that's right. That's
All right.
right.
Well,
What happened? We had to move from
thank
the computer to the phone, and now
Got
it's no.
Thank her for all her help.
Yes,
By the
please
way.
do. Please do.
Oh, hold on. We got claps.
Believe me, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be on the thing right now.
I hear you. Anyway, everybody's been loving the evening.
Yeah, it's the music is just
Same here,
beautiful.
man. Thank
Just
you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
It's very, very good stuff. Again, it's music is fascinating in the hands of the right people. An e-pedal,
Yeah,
that goes on, but to make it interesting, that's the art of it, right?
to have it go
Right.
somewhere and
So
take you-
congratulations, man. You do it so well.
Thank you. Thank you.
So COVID, how have you been dealing with it?
No,
I know you've been gigging a little bit, right?
yeah, a little bit. Not as much as I'd like to, of course, but at the same time, we can't. There's been a few things going on. Definitely every week there's something. I still do the Thursday night at Le Chat Noir.
How's that been going?
It's been going good because they've been great at taking all the right precautions. The tables are very separated. Nobody's close to the stage.
Yeah.
The bar you can't stand at the bar. The bar is off limits, so, and everywhere you look, there's a little station where you have hand sanitizer.
Good.
You got to wear your mask when you walk in. Anytime you're walking around, once you sit down, of course, people
Right.
take them
Yeah.
off to eat and drink, but it's
They're
very,
great
very,
over there.
Those
Yeah,
guys
they're
are such
amazing.
amazing champions of live music and jazz.
they're
The minute
amazing.
they opened their doors, they have
Yep.
been
Well,
steadfast and loyal.
They've been friends of mine for many years as well, way before this. Ezio in particular is a friend of like 25 years.
Wow.
And Alex also for many years from when they had a place down in Cauley Square in South Dade as well.
Oh,
But these guys, there's no other club owners like that on earth. I don't think.
No.
They'd rather go down than jeopardize anything but the music.
yeah.
There's no
That's
TV
exactly
sets
how they are.
anywhere. It's
Yeah.
so they treat you like royalty. To them, everybody who plays an instrument and goes there is might as well be Pat Metheny or Ron
Yeah.
Carter or somebody. To
Absolutely.
them, that's who you are. They teach you that kind of respect.
They're
Yeah.
wonderful.
And that's how
And
they
they're
make
just-
that's how they make you feel, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're sincere because, like I said, I've known them forever. The first time I met Ezio, it was a kind of a cool story. I had been in Las Vegas with Clouds, and for a while Juan Pablo Torres was playing trombone with them. And then when I came back, turned out he was living like a couple of blocks from where I was living, which is by the old Trail Theater, that
Okay,
area by La
okay.
Carreta
Sure.
and
Yeah.
Versailles and all that. And so one afternoon he said, "Hey man, I'm doing a quartet with Abel Pavon and I forget who else was in the group, and I know he's your buddy, so come on down and over there to the rehearsal at the Trail Theater." I go, "All right," because that's where they're going to have the show. It turns out the show was being done by Ezio and another person, who I don't remember who he was now. And you
Right.
know, and this guy was so when I walked in, this other guy was talking to Juan Pablo Torres, and again, he wasn't like really being rude or anything, but he was talking to him like, as if he, a little bit like if he was a commodity.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, and I'll never forget Esio, just like he like walked right in front of between both of them and just started talking to Juan Pablo, telling Juan Pablo, I want you to know that you're a fantastic trombonist, a fantastic artist. I have all your CDs, I have all your albums. I've been a fan of yours, blah, 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 and
Yeah.
just basically shut the other guy up and just showed him that no, that he was appreciated as an artist. And I said, who is
Yeah.
this guy? You know,
Right.
and then a few weeks later, the percussionist who was in that photo in New Orleans with the harpist turned out they grew up together, and he introduced and he brought him on. He turned out he became for a while Oriente's manager, and we toured
Okay.
around you know, the South and all with him. He's a ton of fun to be around. Aside from being great as
Right.
what we're talking about, he is a ton of fun to be around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And speaking of CDs, Oriente has some CDs out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And is there a website that we can send people to find your music, or
Is
the
there?
best way?
Let,
What's the best way for them to do that?
or we
what
just
is,
find
where
it?
can they find the CDs? Best place for them to do that.
We'll just post your phone number here and have
Purchase?
everybody
Yeah.
call you.
The truth is,
They can call.
Facebook page?
yeah, just give us a call, you know, or write to us, because that's basically. I mean, this is totally like a little homegrown mom and pop.
The mom-
They have
Here's what
all
you
their
do,
Mom and
folks.
pop.
downloads
You
on
go to
every-
Facebook and become
every
his friend,
possible-
Exactly, and that's it.
and then they'll have you know,
Right.
free reign to pick your brain. Let's look at some of the album covers that.
And half of them are out of print, really. But I mean, we can. That
Oh,
can be,
that's
of
so
course, that
cool.
can be resolved. There's 5, I think, in total. All of them crap.
No,
No.
I
my
don't believe you.
gosh.
Look at this.
tell them why you said that.
Hey, is that one of, is that something you
Trudy's
painted or?
No, man, I wish that's Holly's
Don't say you wish it-
sister,
I
Trudy.
totally would have. I would have
Oh
bought
wow,
it.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, she's an amazing artist.
Wow,
These are-
these are great.
That I did do on a piece of wood.
Oh, wait
And
a minute.
that's-
Yeah.
Yeah, this is on a chopping block.
Wow.
There you
I
go.
drew with a Sharpie. Yeah,
Hey, you know,
and
who know? In some other circumstances, you might be a famous artist. You know what makes
Exactly.
something more famous
You
than another?
don't know.
well, you know, it's funny you say that because Holly's mom used to say to me, "Why don't you should be doing that
Yeah.
instead?" And I said, "Listen, you just realize you're telling me I should do the only thing that probably pays less than music."
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
Right. Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh.
That's the part that people don't quite understand.
Yeah.
We do
Right.
it because we're compelled to, but if it were about, you know, a lucrative career, it's not really the first choice. You know, you
Yeah,
might
you know
get
what they
lucky,
say,
but yeah,
you know the old joke about what's the difference between a guitar player and a large pizza, right?
no.
A large pizza can actually feed a family of 4.
Oh my god. Oh, that's brutal.
That is pretty brutal. Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness.
Amazing. So what do you imagine 2021 is going to have for you? You know, like do you have plans? Do you?
No, I mean, it's not. You
You're
can't make
taking
any
it-
plans, right, with this situation. So hopefully, you know, it'll just start getting to slowly getting back to normal, if that's what
Yeah.
you could call what it used to be. But yeah, I mean, I think it will. I mean, with the whole thing now with the vaccine and things of that nature, I'm just being optimistic that
Yeah.
as the year progresses, it should be getting better.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the
So
hope
I
for
mean,
sure.
yeah, it has to. Something has to happen, and
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to once again show and ask for people, if you're enjoying this and you're loving the music and learning about Eddy's life, you know, please show a little love. Text the word tip jar to the number 44321. The first $100 will be matched, and all of the money will go to our musicians tonight. So so you can be assured that tonight they will receive in their little PayPal
Yes.
account all of the money directly.
Pizzas for all.
Pizzas for everybody. Yes. So we really appreciate it, and I'm sure they would too. So we want to thank you for that. And Eddy, we want to thank you for being such an amazing musician and telling us your story and you know, going through all these pictures and stuff with us. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you.
Likewise, likewise. And I'll say the same thing to you all. You know, it's really, I'm really, it might sound, you know, corny or something, but it's really honored to be treated with respect for a couple of monsters like both of you, you know, monsters in a good way, of course, you know.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
And Rick
Yeah.
Katz has always treated us with so much respect as well, and he's it's wonderful what he does, and you know, and it's just great to be here. And I have to say, at the same time, there's a lot of very deserving local cats who I believe are more deserving than me, and I hope to see them as well. This is just a town that's so filled with such great players and
It's absolutely incredible.
world-class cats who,
The number of people, amazing, artists and musicians that we have here. It's just incredible.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the fun part of this has been, I guess the bright side of this, of doing this, is that we don't just get to hear the music. We get to, know about you and hear your history and your story.
No, this is a
and
great thing you all are doing.
it's been
It
fantastic.
is a fun format. As much as we've been sort of circling each other on the scene, this is the
Yeah.
first time I have been able to sit down and really have a chat with you.
Yeah, I know.
You
It's
know?
exactly. We've just like said hello and this and that.
Yeah, I
Hey, you
know.
sound great.
So-
This that, but yeah.
Exactly. I mean, and that's it. It's like, do you know Eddie? Oh, sure, but really, no.
Yeah, I
So
know.
it's always a
Right.
revelation, and it's so fun, and it, it's just a great way of, like you said, the silver lining to have this opportunity to actually
Yeah.
sit down, kick back, knowing that we don't have to run off anywhere else, and
Yeah.
get to
Right,
know
right.
what you're all about.
And so if anybody wants to, go out and get the chance to see you, they can find you Thursday nights at Le Chateau.
Thursday nights at Le Chat. No, not this Thursday because it's New Year's Eve. I'm to be elsewhere.
Of course.
But yeah, every Thursday night pretty
What
much.
time do you hit?
Usually around 8 o'clock. Normally it was 9, but with the
Okay.
pandemic thing, they're
Yeah.
closing earlier, so 8
Is it
o'clock.
like a 3 hour set or something?
Yeah, usually around
Yeah.
until 11:30.
Okay.
I mean, we might go to 12 if it's kicking.
Right.
There's. At first, we weren't doing so much of the jam anymore to try to
Of
keep
course.
less people, but guys have been coming around and we don't turn them down, and we try to.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
Well, that's great. And let's.
We have one more song to go out on.
What song is it?
okay.
It's a song called Ibiano. And this was, I believe you said this was recorded by Mongo, right?
Right,
Santa
Mongo
Maria?
recorded it. It was written by a bassist named, I think a New York bassist named William Allen, who played with Mongo. And Pepe Aparicio brought this into the band because he had all of Mongo's charts because he had been Mongo's bass player as well.
Wow.
And he said, "Let's play this tune." And I said, "Wow, what a pretty tune!" Yeah, so we've kept it in the repertoire since.
Very nice. So with that song, we're going to say goodnight to Eddie and thank Holly again
And Holly.
and goodnight to both of you. And again, thank you so much for sharing your talent. Thank your band members, although I guess we have had Felix, Dony Felix here was with us. But thank
Happy
you for
birthday to
coming.
you, Donnie.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, Donnie, and thanks for coming out to the jazz port and doing everything that you did to make the show as great as it was.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to hear, what is it?
Ibiano.
Ibiano. Woo! That was so great.
Very good.
So fun. Want to let you know what's coming up next. No, not. Oh, before that, let's do. Thank our partners in crime for joining with us to bring you all of these amazing artists every week. We've got to thank the Gold Coast Jazz Society, and they just put out a fantastic holiday show that you can find on their page, on their either their goldcoastjazz.org. You can go to their website. They also have a Facebook page, and I believe they also have a YouTube page. So you just put Gold Coast Jazz Society, and you can find Davis and Dell did a really amazing and beautiful holiday concert. So definitely check that out. And then Florida, the Sunshine Jazz Organization, which is, I always think of them as SJO, but they actually have a full name, Sunshine Jazz Organization, and you can find them at www.sunshinejazz.org. And they also had a beautiful holiday gift, musical gift that they just put out. And you can also find that on their Facebook page and on their YouTube page. You just go to Sunshine Jazz Organization on either of those, and you can find it. It's Nicole Yarling, and it's just a really beautiful musical holiday treat. So definitely check that out if you get a chance. And the other thing we want to talk about and thank is South Florida Jazz.
Oh yeah, if you missed this the last 2 weeks, there's some exciting news.
Yeah, they actually are figured out a way how to do their season, their musical season, all virtual. And it's an amazing lineup. In fact, the very first artist that you would get a chance to listen to would be the John Diversa Quintet, and the show is called Cuarentena with family at home. And it's going to feature some really amazing artists, Gonzalo Rubalcaba, Carlo De Rosa, Daphnis Prieto, and Sammy Figueroa, some great friends of ours. And that will be on Saturday, January 16th at 8 p.m. And you would live stream the performance. And if you need, I don't know if they're actually doing any kind of live, like in person, you could be there. But the way to find out would be to go to their website, which is southfloridajazz.org. Can you scroll down just a little bit, please?
I certainly can.
Thank you. And then, as if that weren't enough, they've got a show every month. So February 20th will be the Joe Locke Quartet, fantastic vibraphonists, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then March 27th will be Dan Tepfer, who's going to be doing a solo piano called
Bach.
to the Future. And in April, there will be the David Kikoski Quartet featuring Eric Alexander and the K-Mode Studio Social. So definitely go check that out. It's southfloridajazz.org. You can find out how to get your tickets and how to watch it virtually, or if you can go in person. I don't know how everybody's feeling these days, but they always do amazing seasons every year. So I'm so happy that they're able to put on a season, because that was like a big hole for us.
Oh, yeah.
In our music. But so we want to thank them all. Definitely go check out their websites. Go check out what they had going on for their musical offerings.
Yep.
And you know what I'm really happy to say?
What?
That the next time we'll see you will be next year.
Oh, 2021.
Which sounds crazy, but next week is 2021. And we are going to be featuring Tom Lippincott. He has a brand new CD out, and so we're going to listen to some of the music from the CD,
Yes.
talk to him about his process and who's on it.
I
And,
think we might be joined by his cohorts.
oh, okay. So we're going to have a lot of fun. They're always a good time. And then the following week, we'll have John DeVersa on, who, and we'll talk to him a lot about his concert that'll be coming up with South Florida Jazz. So that's January 11th, John DeVersa, the 3-time Grammy winner. And then the following, it's going to be the next two, I guess the second half of January is going to be like a Brazil fest.
If people watching can stay still in their seats those last 2 weeks of January.
That's true. They don't have to stay still in their seats.
That's true.
They can get up and dance. We'll be featuring Phil Fest.
Also a CD release.
Another CD release, and fantastic guitarist, Brazilian. He'll be on January 18th, and we will close up January with two of my favorite people in the world, Rose Max and Ramachis, the Brazilian jazz duo, just fantastic. And that's it. I'm really excited to say, see you next year.
Everyone, good night.